There was a psychologist or humanist, Carl Rogers, and he has basically made this particular three levels popular. But before that, let us understand that the self concept is a overarching idea about who we are. So in our program, we have already seen that who am I is actually much more than our body and mind, and we are a part of the divine, and real we are is the pure consciousness. But it is not at your experience level. It is what I am saying, you are hearing, Vedas, Upanishads are saying, and you are trying to comprehend. So it is not it at your Nidhi level. It is at your Shravan level and somewhat at a Manan level where we are trying to comprehend. That is okay. I'm not my body, mind, and intellect. I am something divine and all that. What we are going to talk the self concept today is from our own understanding, our own realization, not beyond us, right? So whatever is your mind and intellect can comprehend, that is the self concept we are talking about. The real self is beyond what you can comprehend, but the self concept what we are going to discuss today or now on the program, whenever we will talk on the self concept, we will basically talk about the self concept which you are in a position to relate to, right? So when I talk about the who we are from the concept of the self concept, I'm talking about who we are physically, emotionally, socially, as well as spiritually, right? So these are the four components of our self concept. We do have ideas about how we look. We do have ideas about our emotions and the feelings. We do have ideas about our social image, and we do have ideas about our spiritual nature. So these four components are say part of the our own self concept. We form this particular self concept as we grow. Major part of the self concept gets formed in our childhood. I'm saying major, not entire. Then up to the adulthood, say up to the age of 18 or say up to the maximum 21, most of our self concept gets finalized or gets say concretized. But can we change the self concept? Can we improvise? Can we modify? Can we influence our self concept beyond age 21? Answer is absolutely yes, but it is difficult, right? When we cross that particular age of say around 21, beyond that, modifying your self concept is challenging. It is possible. Means many of you might have attended my session on neuroscience coaching on Friday. So there we have discussed on the neuroplasticity. So our brain is such a wonderful device that because of the neuroplasticity, you can practically change, you can practically modify your thoughts and feelings and emotions and the self-concept at any age. But as your age increases, it becomes difficult, is my point. Right. So what is this particular, say, three, say, parts of our self-concept, what Carl Rogers has identified rightly. So the one is your ideal self, the center, the ideal self. The ideal self is person who you want to be. And this is why in many psychometric tests, the results are not accurate. And this is why I personally don't believe the psychometric test which only ask answers from you. Why? Because you mix your ideal self in answering. In some of the answers, it is not who you are, but who you want to be. And this is how you respond. And this is the reason why self-appraisal many times is not accurate. For the self-appraisal to be accurate, your self-awareness needs to be very high, which in all of our case is not the case. So you need to cross that particular self-awareness level to really appraise yourself accurately. So that your ideal self is always you want to be, and generally you imagine, right? When you are under some test and assessment thing, you always imagine your ideal, and then you respond not to who you are, but to what you want to be. So this is your ideal self. The self-image is how you see yourself, including your attributes like physical characteristics, personality traits, or the social roles. So the self-image is your perception about yourself. That may not be the true reflection. That may not be true, right? But it is what you think about yourself right now. Right now, how you are, what you think about what you are now is called a self-image. And the self-esteem is how much you like, accept, or value yourself. So it is about your acceptance of who you are, who you think you are, not who you are. It is your acceptance of who you think you are. It is how you value yourself. And self-esteem can be impacted by number of factors, including how others see you, how you compare yourself with the others, and your role in the society, your position in the society, your family background, right? Your upbringing, right? So there are a variety of the aspects which impact self-esteem. So on self, there are variety of the concept. We are not going to go into the details of each concept because this is mainly of a theoretical understanding, which is a part of our, say, master degree program or a program in psychology. So there is a self concept, there is a self-esteem. So the self, so to say, shorten the time, I can say that the self concept is a overarching umbrella. Under the overarching umbrella of self-concept, there is a self-esteem, there is a self-image, there is a self-efficacy, there is a self-efficacy, and there is self-awareness. All are part of your self-concept, right? So the self-esteem we have already discussed. Self-image, okay, how you see yourself or you perceive yourself right now. Self-efficacy is related to your confidence, related to how confident you are that you will be successful. That is your own judgment about your own abilities is called as self-efficacy. And self-awareness, of course, this particular session we are going to discuss on the self-awareness. So there is a difference between these, but self-concept encompasses self-esteem, self-image, self-efficacy, and self-awareness.